How does Bill Snyder do it? I am telling you, Kansas State football before Bill Snyder in the abyss. Bill Snyder, national prominence. He leaves for a few seasons, back to the abyss. He comes back and maybe not reclaiming their spot among the top 10 in the nation, but still relevant, still a top 30 type program, still winning bowl games. Kansas State under Bill Snyder, it's incredible what he has done as a head coach there in building a program, developing young men, doing it the right way. I guess the only knock would be bring in more talent. So the recruiting has not been good. He relies on a lot of JUCO players, and last season was the perfect and classic microcosm of the Kansas State way. If you take any metric, offensively or defensively, they didn't rank in the top 70 in the country in the advanced metrics, which would tell you that they weren't a very good football team. They should have won 4 or 5 games. They won a bowl game and completed an 8-5 season. Beat UCLA, of course, in the Cactus Bowl and finished 5-4 in the Big 12, a respectable showing there in conference play. And were within one score last few seconds of the game against some of the top opponents on their schedule. It's amazing what he's done. Now, Bill Snyder, this year, as we remind you, this is our series, Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football, previewing and predicting all the Power 5 teams, and we are on a mad dash to opening night on Thursday night, August 30th. Okay, we've made our way to Kansas State. Check out all the Pac-12 videos and the Big 12 from the bottom to the top. New offensive coordinator in Manhattan for the first time since 2009. He is Kansas State great Andre Coleman. All right, they had 3 quarterbacks play last year. They're going to have 2 play this season, it appears, and Skylar Thompson, he's the passer, and Alex Delton, he's the runner. We saw him last tearing up the UCLA defense in the second half as Kansas State came back from 10 down to win by 18. Delton ran for 160 yards in the bowl game against the Bruins, and he completed 57% of his passes last season. Thompson at 61%, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. It will again be a conservative approach. Run first, need running plays from the quarterback, and pass second. So the running back is Alex Barnes, and much is on his shoulders. He ran for 819 yards and 7 touchdowns last year. Expect those numbers to go up because there's little behind him in regards to experience. But when these guys got a shot and were on the field, the backups actually averaged 5.2 yards per carry. So Kansas State may be able to split up the carries and give Barnes a rest. Okay, the offensive line is not ultra talented. You are not going to necessarily see these guys be first-round picks. Many of them will move on to the NFL and go to training camps, but they're not ultra-talented, top-level guys. But they are very experienced, technically sound. Of course, Bill Snyder, it means that the technique, the fundamentals are typically very, very tight. The offensive line returns 114 starts. Okay, the wide receivers, let's break them down between the big play guys on the outside and the slot guys, the possession guys. So on the outside, you've got Dalton Schoen with 23 catches, 3 touchdowns. Isaiah Harris, he only caught 5 passes last year, but he's going to factor more into the offense this year. Again, these are the guys with the speed on the outside that can take the top off the defense, at least Kansas State style. The possession guys are led by Isaiah Zuber. He caught 51 last year and 4 touchdowns, but only 10 yards per reception. Truly a move the chains kind of guy. The defense was very beat up in 2017 and held together to allow the team to win 8 games. So they've got experience back in spots, but if you look at most of the best players on this defense in 2017, they're gone. So who replaces these guys? Well, Bill Snyder, as he typically does, went the transfer route with 4 JUCOs and also a player from Virginia and a Texas State transfer. His best player potentially is Reggie Walker coming back, who was much better statistically as a freshman than as a sophomore. Walker coming into his junior season, if you go back to 2016, 11.5 tackles for loss, 6.5 sacks. Those numbers went down significantly last year. They need to get back up. There are 8 defensive backs back for 2018, including cornerback A.J. Parker. He's the number one corner. Also, they've got a couple of players in the defensive backfield that are ball hawks of sorts, and DJ Reed with 4 picks and Kendall Adams with 3 interceptions. All right, it's a bend but break, don't break defense. They broke at times last year. They did have the best special teams in the nation. But if you look at their main kick returners, their place kicker, their punter, they're all gone. So the best special teams in the nation, according to the advanced metrics that we get from Bill Conley at SB Nation, fortunately, most of that comes back to coaching. Most of it on special teams comes back to coaching. So Kansas State typically does supplement a lot of the statistical gaps with excellent special teams play, lack of penalties as well. All right, they've got a nice little game with Mississippi State in the non-conference slate on September 8th in Manhattan. If they win that game, then maybe this team is a little bit better than I expect. The advanced metrics and the win probability only has Kansas State favored in 2 of its 10 Big 12 games. But this team is not going to go 2-7 in the Big 12. They'll go 4-5. They will win 2 of 3 non-conference. I expect Mississippi State to go in there and out-athlete Kansas State in the fourth quarter and win what should be a pretty good ball game, 31-24. So Mississippi State defeats Kansas State, so the Wildcats take a loss there. And in looking through and sifting through where they will typically gain the wins against the Kansases, Baylor, Iowa State, possibly Texas Tech and the like, and then pick up another win or 2. That leaves us with 4 wins and 5 losses for K-State. They get back to postseason play, but not a banner year for Bill Snyder, who just signed a 5-year extension at the age of 78. And don't expect him not to fulfill that 5-year obligation. Kansas State finishes at 6-6, 4-5. In the comments section, please leave your prediction for Kansas State football in 2018. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Mark Rogers TV, the voice of college football. We'll be back with another Big 12 team